delirio è la parola giusta, Mantis. Parte proprio nel senso, voi lo vedete bene, ma non avete idea delle condizioni in cui sto giocando. Proprio non avete idea. Voi lo vedete tutto bene, adesso non c'è l'audio, ma basta fare così e compare subito. Eh, a piccoli passi, a piccoli passi. Nimris, Mantis, buonasera, bentornati, pronti, carichi a follia. Follia nel mondo di Stanley e la sua parabola. Vediamo un po'. Buonasera, sei a metà, beh, ho visto. Grande Mantis, metà, poi sono 50, grandissimo. Merda, sono 50, sono tante, eh. Vi devo far vedere però, cioè io no, vi giuro sono un attimo... Guarda, allora, voi vedete tutto bene, vero? Tutto preciso, tutto ordinato, vede, no? Tutto a schermo. La realtà dei fatti è questa. No, dov'è? Io sto giocando così. Io sto... Non posso... Meglio di così non potevo mettere a posto. Sono stato lì 10 minuti a sbatterci capo e... Beh, niente. Almeno voi lo vedete bene. Cioè, nel senso lo vedete normale. Io ci ho rinunciato. Io ci ho rinunciato, ci ho provato un po', ma niente. Vabbè, è comunque giocabile, quindi... Tra l'altro, vedete, guardate che figo che c'è la freccia anche nello schermo piccolo. Non si vedrà, ma anche in quello più piccolo. C'è la canna davanti al titolo. Hai ragione. Hai ragione. Aspetta che mi sposto. Ma, vabbè, però penso che mi metto qui. Mi metto qui. Perché non so come sarà poi in gioco, non so se... non credo che ci sarà un HUD, anche perché non mi aspetto... Cioè, questo è un gioco dove ti muovi e basta. Vai in giro, cammini. Quindi, cioè, credo che l'HUD sarà molto, molto pulito, lo schermo, ecco. Ok, no. Vedete però, poi c'è questo inconveniente che ogni volta che esco col mouse... Che palle. Vabbè, che versione stai giocando? La base, la normale. So che ho scoperto dopo che c'era la deluxe, però la deluxe non era scontata. Fatemi vedere una cosa, tra l'altro. Così, per curiosità. Mannaggia, no. Perché? C'era roba in più? Ah, perché dici che è diverso? Ma non si può fare tipo l'upgrade? No, non si può fare l'upgrade. Aspetta, ma come non si può fare l'upgrade? Nella Ultra Deluxe ci sono altri finali. Vabbè. Aspetta, eh. Fammi vedere se posso fare... Purtroppo non posso fare l'upgrade. Mannaggia. Vabbè, magari un giorno più avanti ci prendiamo anche la deluxe. Tanto, non costa tanto. Senza la Ultra Deluxe ti stai perdendo metà gioco. Oh no. Quindi vuol dire che durerà ancora meno. Quindi mi stai dicendo che durerà ancora meno. Oh no. E io avevo beccato questa scontata, dannazione. Peccato che non si può fare. Strano che però non ti facciano fare l'upgrade. Fatemi vedere una cosa. Allora, possiamo fare due cose in questo frangente. O giochiamo questo e prima o poi ci giochiamo l'altro, oppure non giochiamo questo e aspettiamo per giocare l'altro. Esatto, ah, ok, perfetto. Perfetto. Che in realtà è quello che avrei fatto io, cioè a sto punto. Si gioca a questo e poi si vedono le differenze. Poi ci sta anche. E si vedono le differenze nel prossimo. È normale che non ci sia più audio, vero? Sì.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Dove sono i sottotitoli?
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
Perché non ci sono i sottotitoli? Musica, parlanti. Ah, eccoli qua. Solo sottotitoli, sottotitoli completi. Cosa cambia solo sottotitoli e sottotitoli completi? Esatto. Boh. Ok. No, mia... No.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day,
Musichette sono
something very
incredibili.
peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Va bene. Allora, io so che ci sono tante opzioni in questo gioco. Non posso interagire. Ok, con la E interagisci.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ok, Ok, posso
No
fare...
matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Però c'è un computer acceso. L'ho spento. Attenzione.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
E già comincia a romperci i coglioni. Ma fammi esplorare, narratore. Però posso toccare un botto di roba. Un altro computer. Cosa succede se li spengo tutti?
Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office, because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
Se stai incazzando. Ma fai, dice mai. Oddio. Ok. Sì, sì, dai, sta proprio...
Oh, and I guess this is where Stanley felt he needed to be right now, in this little hallway. Here,
Non ci credo!
to study room 417, not to actually enter it.
Non ci credo!
Too forward. Stanley wanted to know it from the outside, to see it not just with his eyes, but with his heart. He would know room 417 as no man or woman had ever known an office before. That ladder over there. Oh, and that little picture of a horizon or something. It's all just a never-ending parade of joy for Stanley.
Oh, ma sì, dai. Va bene, vado. Sì, mi sta odiando forte il narratore in questo momento.
Ah, no, apparently not.
No, Non ci credo che cioè, il narratore ha previsto anche questa cosa, che il giocatore...
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
La porta a sinistra, eh? Dai, vabbè, ti ho rotto il cazzo fino adesso, va bene. No, voglio spegnere il PC. Vabbè. Ah, prima o poi la trovo la porta che serve a qualcosa, eh? Prima o poi la trovo la porta che serve a qualcosa.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Io sto male. Allora, sto gioco mi sta inscimmiando. Madonna. Devo... Non posso salire? No. Cazzo era quella slide? Io non mastico, ma neanch'io, infatti non sto leggendo, voglio vedere se lui reagisce. Dopo tot slide che guardi, magari lui ti dice qualcosa.
Stanley just stood there doing nothing at all. He seems to think I have nothing better to do with my time than to sit around and describe every fascinating little detail
No,
of his
ok.
ability to do anything. This is why Stanley and I are on such good terms.
Ok, si lamenta del fatto che sto fermo ma non dice niente sulle slide.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Non posso prendere...
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Credo che un CDN sia un cazzo di niente.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why?
Perché
Please
sì.
offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
No, io sto male. Tra un po' veramente...
Maybe to you, this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite."
XD.
I hope your friends find this concerning.
No!
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Ma come? Ma come?
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of
Vabbè.
before it begins to
Sto male.
decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead.
No.
He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability
Ma
of
quanti
your
dialoghi hanno
Please
fatto?
remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just
Sì,
get
sì,
out
ma
of your-
ovvio. È ovvio che sta parlando con me. Cioè, non è... In questo momento è narrativa... metanarrativa, praticamente. Dite che ha finito? Non lo so. Potrebbe aver finito. Ci stava come conclusione. Però non lo so, io proverei a aspettare ancora un attimino. Secondo me nella deluxe c'è un finale qua. Esteso, no, anche a me mi ha ucciso, cattivissimo, incazzato nero proprio, il furioso. Vabbè, dai.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
Vabbè, spettacolo. Spettacolo.
You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Mamma mia! Basta, basta. Penso che il narratore ormai ha capito con che tipo di giocatore ha a che fare. Dai. No, vado. Io sto male.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Vabbè, dai, saliamo. Un po' faccio un po' un mix, dai. Nel mio cazzeggio però lo ascolto. Poi tanto prima o poi non lo ascolteremo, quindi. Ci ho provato. Dai, bagno! No. No, no, l'ho fatto apposta. Volevo vedere se riuscivo a ripassare mentre chiudeva la porta, però non ce l'ho fatta.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Ovviamente. Ovviamente Stanley non poteva saperlo. Come poteva?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying
No,
to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Two, 845. Stanley simply began entering. Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Hai capito che sono una testa di cazzo e quindi ha detto, sai che c'è? Si è aperta la porta, non si sa come, non si sa perché, però si è aperta e Stanley può andare avanti. Va bene. Ultima volta. Vabbè, ci ho provato. Ah, guardate la copertina del gioco. Non ce la fa più lui, lo sto esasperando, tipo a piccoli passi. Lui mi vede che vado avanti, dice dai, 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 però sono lì che... Merda, stiamo andando. Ah, pure. È a zone.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Minchia. Un horror è diventato. Salve.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape. Ma zii, se mi metti sta cosa, io... In che senso escape? No, vabbè, avevo detto che lo ascoltavo. Lo ascoltavo. Dai, ascoltiamolo. Si vede una sega.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Si può aumentare un po', è troppo basso? Lo alziamo? Basta alzarlo.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Ok, eravamo monitorati. Tutti quanti. Beh, oddio, però il narratore ci starà raccontando la storia giusta. Che numero era il nostro? Non me lo ricordo più. Fired, c'è un licenziato.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Ok.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Sì, ma come? Madonna, sta stanza è enorme, eh. Ci sono 1000 pulsanti. Serviranno effettivamente a qualcosa? Secondo me sì, il problema è vai tu a capire a cosa. sono... E ci sono un bel po' di pulsanti. E qua c'è un pulsantone di quelli proprio... Come funziona? Console disabilitata. Mm. Questi? Madonna. Qui la roba si fa complicata. Qua la roba si fa complicata. 4, no, 1, 2, manca il 3. Non posso tipo correre, vero? No, quello è 5. Questo è 3. Questo è 4. Però fanno tutti lo stesso suono. Ed ecco 5. Non è successo niente. Non ho capito. Se c'è qualche enigma sarà un po' dovrò trovarlo in giro magari.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Ok, questo è il finale dove si scopre come si va via. Ok.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that.
Il finale del narratore,
This couldn't
esatto.
go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But
Lo
the one thing
sapevo.
he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
LOL. Ok, non mi aspettavo che fosse un finale, onestamente. Pensavo che dopo un po' rompessi i coglioni come col... Ok, ci sta, ci sta, ci sta.
I
Ci
can't wait
sta.
to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Sti computer. Non mi fido di sti computer. Ok. Questo della stanza l'abbiamo già fatto.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Va bene. Andiamo a ammirare la bellezza della sala impiegati. Oh.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Va bene. Missione dello stanzino parte
At
2.
this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Tutti, esatto. Dai, anche in una situazione catastrofica come
Stanley
questa, un
sat
po' di
around
relax.
waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Credo che abbia smesso di parlare con Stelly e stia incominciando a parlare con me. No, non sono tremendo. Sono un esploratore io, Nimris. Esploro fin dove possono arrivare i dialoghi di quest'uomo. E temo che siano arrivati al dunque con questa stanza. Sì, credo che siamo arrivati al dunque.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
È che cambia qualcosa? O alla perché... Oddio. Aspetta. Cioè, nel senso, vediamo un attimo. Voglio provare a fare... Al massimo si può resettare.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Qui posso tornare indietro. Ah, ok, qua, lì è la... lo riconosco, quella è la stanza, quindi qui ritorno sul percorso principale. Qua vado giù. La stanza con le diapositive, e qua chissà dove.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left.
Anche a sinistra.
Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake.
Mi stai pigliando per il culo, vero, frate?
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? No,
Arrabatta cose.
Down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Sei sicuro? Io va... Ah, ok. No, è sicuro. Stavolta... si era un attimo... Si era un attimo perso, scusate. Beh, è colpa mia, in effetti, però.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
Spoiler!
Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm? Okay, from the top.
Ricominciamo. Va bene.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Io sto...
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Io sto male. È cambiato. È cambiato il computer. Non ha più l'input. Vuol dire che vai in giro magari per i computer, o magari adesso devo trovare lo schermo su cui si trasferisce. Che follia. Ma è bellissima sta follia, Nimris. È incredibile.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Or did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or
Non ho toccato niente,
Why
frate.
am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story.
Infatti.
It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere.
Compa, io non ho toccato
It's
niente.
an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Cosa? Che cosa? Ma che cazzo? Ok, cerchiamo... Dove cazzo vado? Vado di qui. Sì, ok, va bene. Ok, no, sì, di qui, di qui, di qui, di qui.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
No, ma fammi esplorare. Storia volevo. Boh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, io continuo a premerli sti cazzo di computer. Non mi importa. Prima o poi succederà qualcosa.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Ma guarda, mi sai che guarda, sono abbastanza sicuro di... Torniamo indietro, dai, capisco. Ogni tanto ci si può confondere, succede. Io tengo fissi sti computer che mi puzzano di...
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
Sei sicuro, compà?
No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Tranquillo, prima o poi la ritroviamo. La ritroviamo.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so.
A me sembra
I
Resident
can't
Evil.
quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley?
No.
Do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all.
Gigi!
We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Ok, siamo sicuri? Io sto male. Io sto male.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanlay Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Io lo sapevo che non era finita. Ma non era di qua. No, no. No, non era di qua. Ma non era di qua, fratello, no, era di qui. No, era...
No, no, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Lascialo lì, poi lo sistemo, fa culo. Ci pensiamo dopo, ho fatto un'altra strada. Va bene. Andiamo. Che eroe. No, fammi spegnere il computer. Fammi spegnere il computer, se no esco pazzo. E vabbè. Ma dove mi sta portando?
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Cut the music. go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Ma questa è follia. Questa è follia. È impazzito anche lui. Ha capito con chi ha a che fare. Cioè, sì, ci sta tirando scemi.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No, no. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Non lo so, fratello. Me lo devi dire tu? Mi sa che in tutto sto casino, per farmi impazzire, è impazzito anche lui. Cioè, ha voluto prendermi per il culo, ma ha fatto bordello e l'ha presa per il culo e gli si sta ritorcendo contro, secondo me. Ma no, sia di nuovo qui!
No, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Quanto andrà avanti questa... Ci fidiamo, mi fido! Sti computer, non mi
You
importa.
know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Intraprendente, mi piace il narratore. Ha detto, dai, proviamo a fare qualcosa.
Yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Oddio, sono veramente tornato indietro? LOL. Pensavo di essere bloccato nella stanza. Beh, in un certo senso lo siamo.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story.
Ah, è proprio viva la
No lines
linea.
or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
È proprio viva la linea. Ha preso vita nella storia. Va dove vuole. Minchia, ma sfonda proprio le cose. Ha una fisicità sta linea.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule?
Ma
How
sto
would we
male.
even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Ma che cazzo? Ok. Siamo tornati? È l'originale? Non vedo linee. È crashato. Sì, esatto. Ha perso la...
co-workers were gone.
Ok, è ricominciato. Ha perso la
Stanley decided
connessione.
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ok. E anche questo l'abbiamo messo nel taschino. Sto coso si sposta di PC in PC. Secondo me, anzi no, di finale in finale.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
E qua siamo qui?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
No, sono io. Stanley ha un buon senso delle... Sono io che...
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's some... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why... I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Danger everywhere. Pericolo ovunque. Ma sto male, che cazzo ho trovato, raga?
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Cazzo, ma quante cose ci sono? Ok. Vediamo un po'.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now.
Ah, tranquillo, lo faremo.
Killing us, Stanley. I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think Well, I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Ah, che stronzo!
What do we want? What are we looking for?
Ah, sono i limiti, ok.
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy. No, wait. Where are you going? Right. Where were we?
Ok.
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Cioè? E se torno indietro fino alla stanza?
Good, good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here. No. What did we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here. You heard me before, didn't you? You will die. What about this isn't getting through to you?
Perché? Che è successo, Mantis?
Please, Stanley, think. No! Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room? No. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it?
No.
You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
No.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours. Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it?
No.
I'm going back.
No. No. È cambiata la stanza.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left? Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
È impazzito. È crashato OBS. No, questa volta però è OBS, infatti sono tornato subito. Ma che cazzo? No, no, per fortuna no. Questa volta è stato OBS che si è un attimo... Ok, a posto. Ci risiamo. Ho fatto il saltino. Eccoci qua. Adesso dobbiamo prendere l'altra stanza.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Allora, sarei tanto tentato di merda, per non ascoltarlo fino in fondo. No! Che bastardo!
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Ma che... Ma...
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice.
Io
But of
sto
course, the
impazzendo.
message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard.
No!
Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over.
Fanculo.
Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Eccolo. Io sto
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here, no, here, and then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course, and just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
Io sto male. Io sto male.
Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Sto male. Ma con la musichetta pure.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
C'è il carbone. Possiamo farci le luci. Hai degli stecchini, narratore?
Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
No!
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Ma che cazzo? Cos'è? Gmod? No. Voglio portarmi... niente. Purtroppo non posso portarmi là.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley.
Ah, è Portal. Non è Portal.
Genius.
No, non è Sì, è Portal.
No, you know what? I think that's plenty. I
Questo
really
è
don't
Portal.
care to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game.
Narratore? Narratore? Eh sì, c'era scritto beta dappertutto. Oh cazzo. E quindi? Siamo da un'altra parte. Nella beta Stanley era un informatico esperto? Ah, io non lo sapevo.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Credo che veramente è incredibile la quantità di finali e
All of his
vie
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
che ha pensato,
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
che hanno
Perhaps
pensato a
he'd
quelli che hanno
sent him the
sviluppato
memo.
sto gioco. È incredibile. Dove è finito il computer pazzo? Dov'è finito il computer pazzo? Nelle tutte le deluxe ce ne sono... li
When
scopriremo
Stanley
anche
came to
quelli.
a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't.
Proviamo ad andare dritti adesso. Di qua le abbiamo fatte tutte, mi sa.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've
beh
gotten
sì,
off
in
on the
realtà
wrong
sì, perché alla
foot
fine ti
here.
porta sempre nella stessa
I'm not
stanza.
your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you
dici giù
all
giù?
this time. There's
Così?
someone you've been neglecting, Stan. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Va bene. Capisco.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes?
Ok, il finale in un secondo, in pratica.
While my senses were turned, he made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
Ok, il finale facile, quello veloce, indolore. Per noi, non per Stanley. Ma sto male.
When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, but eager to get back to business.
Poi
Stanley
dobbiamo
took the
anche
first
poi
open door
ascoltarlo
on
e
his
andare nella stanza escape anche. C'era la via con su scritto escape, me lo
Stanley was so
ricordo.
bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to... But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his
Volevo
death.
vedere se riuscivo a raggiungere
Everyone
scenderli in
thinks you are
basso.
very powerful.
Volevo vedere se riuscivo. Volevi scoprire se. Sì.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Console Park, cioè? Cosa mi sta sfuggendo? Cosa mi sta sfuggendo? Whiteboard ending. Sembra che qua non abbiano messo una cosa. Forse l'hanno messa nell'Ultra Deluxe. Ok.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
E adesso sono indeciso perché è cambiato tutto. Proseguo non ascoltandolo o lo ascolto? No, non è cambiato niente. Come non è cambiato niente? Siamo entrati da un'altra stanza.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Ma che cazzo?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone. As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone?
No.
No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best
Perché qua
start
sì?
to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Ok.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Ma io sto male. Io sto male. Comunque alcune serrature hanno una carta.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Si sta rompendo tutto. Oh no! Oh no!
After everything we talked about, that you... My story! You've destroyed my
No!
work! Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to.
In che senso?
I have to. I'm still here in this pile of rubbish, with you, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have
Già
been
fatto, già
perfect.
fatto.
I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
Mi sa che...
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door.
No, ma è parte
left.
del gioco, ne sono convinto. Riprovo un'ultima volta.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling
basta?
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Dovevo andare per forza così. Ok.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
C'erano
office.
delle scale per salire, per scendere, ne sono sicuro. Però mi sa che dobbiamo fare un restart vero.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Devo dirlo veramente? Cos'è? Mi sta registrando il gioco e devo dire...
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Squalo della notte 115.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code
Night
into the
Shark
receiver.
115.
Otherwise you can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine, you're not gonna do it.
Non
But you know what?
posso!
It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do.
È un bel po'.
Take as much time as you need.
Sto male. È di nuovo diverso.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Voglio provare ad andare dall'escape. Dobbiamo rispondere al telefono. Dobbiamo provare a rispondere al telefono, ma voglio provare a vedere anche la strada.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
L'escape.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Non posso resistere, scusa. È più forte di me.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. one he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts.
Che trip!
And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew.
No!
Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Wow, questo è stato cioè un viaggio. Questo è stato incredibile.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
Ha iniziato con una frase diversa. Sbaglio o è iniziato con una frase diversa? Vuol dire che non abbiamo ancora finito.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Cos, tu non hai idea. Tu non hai idea. Questo gioco sfiora la follia. Sfiora la follia, no, in realtà l'abbiamo già toccata più che egregiamente la follia e siamo tornati indietro, cioè è una figata sto gioco, Cos. No, è bellissimo. Io ti consiglio di recuperare tutto quello che abbiamo, di recuperare assolutamente queste 2 ore perché è stato incredibile e stiamo ancora scoprendo cose.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Allora, sarei tentato di riandare di sotto. Ma ho paura di riottenere lo stesso finale. Ho paura di riottenere lo stesso... Riottengo lo stesso finale, immagino. Me la recupero al 100. Pensa che ho scoperto che purtroppo non abbiamo la versione base. Sì, riottieni lo stesso finale, ok. C'è anche la versione deluxe con ancora più finali, quindi più avanti ci prenderemo anche la deluxe con ancora più finali. Non vedo, Madonna. Io purtroppo questa è la versione base, quindi è ancora più corta. Questa prima non si poteva aprire. Money in the morning, money there, money crisp. Io qua prima non potevo entrare. Dagli achievement riesci a capire cosa può mancarti? Non ne ho idea. Non ne ho idea. Può essere, forse dagli achievement sì. Secondo me si può. Sì. Quindi mi stai dicendo che posso andare dove voglio? Quindi posso andare dove voglio? Cazzo. Io sto male. Su? Non posso andare giù? Quindi posso andare sia su che giù. E se vado su? C'è lui che canticchia, c'è il narratore che canticchia. Fa morire. Sì, sì, è lui, è lui. È proprio molto basso, è proprio. È proprio bassissimo, però c'è lui che. sa che ci sta pigliando per il culo. È tipo la gag dell'ascensore. Ok. Sì, comunque è abbastanza sus sto quadro. Ok, stanza meme? Stanza meme, poi.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud.
Com'è che era?
He
2,
began wildly tearing
4.
through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Sto male. Perché sto facendo tutto di fretta senza farlo parlare? Ma no. Ok, ok. Adesso dobbiamo andare verso l'escape. Ma è scioccato, mi ha aperto il cervello. No, ma me lo sta aprendo anche a me, Cos. Me lo sta aprendo fortissimo. Ma tu non hai
Stanley
idea.
walked straight ahead through the large door.
Allora.
Mind control facility.
No, però poi devo farmi... No, come non detto. Ora facciamo l'escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Ok.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Io se me ne vado. Ah no, ok, stanza chiusa. Che finale hai sbloccato? Ne abbiamo fatti un po' già. Abbiamo fatto, vabbè, quello standard, quello della follia. Abbiamo fatto, vabbè, quello delle varie morti, cadendo giù quello della beta, quello che siamo finiti nella beta. Abbiamo fatto lo stanzino. Abbiamo fatto quello del non ascoltarlo mai, che si rompe tutto il gioco. Ne abbiamo già fatti un po'. Oh, ma dove
When
cazzo?
every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
No, ne abbiamo fatti un sacco cosa. Sono stato bravo. È il modellino della stanza. Cazzo. Ma è tipo il museo questo? È come tipo il museo della Insomniac. Ti fa vedere tutti i prompt. Ma che figo! Quanto erano belle ste cose dei videogiochi che ti mettevano nel museo, ti facevano vedere i modelli, le cose scartate, tu potevi girare in questo museo e vedere tutta la roba che volevano mettere. Perché non c'è più nei giochi sta cosa? In Ratchet Clank c'era bellissimo. Spoiler? Spoiler? Ok. Sì, c'era scritto proprio quello. Sì, sì. Boh, ok. Ma tutta sta roba? Ma c'è un botto di roba che noi non conosciamo, eh. Questa era la control room. Beh, oddio, possono essere anche cose che non sono mai state messe, eh. Ma che belle che sono ste cose, io le adoro. Poi è immenso sto posto, raga.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time choose.
Quindi? Siamo morti. La fine? Ma devo fare io il restart, non lo fa... No, secondo me lo fa lui. Prima o poi lo fa... L'ha sempre fatto lui, lo farà anche adesso. O no? Rimarrai morto finché non esci? Mi sembra strano perché ha sempre fatto il restart lui. Allora io ne approfitto per vedere una cosa. Non ricordo, prima lo devi fare te qui. Può essere, eh? Ancora questa stanza, di
All of his
nuovo.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
Cliccare
meeting
ESC. Ho premuto ESC per...
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ancora.
When Stanley came to a set of two
Però
open
adesso non so
doors,
cosa fare,
he entered
raga.
the door on his left.
Di lì siamo andati, di lì siamo andati.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door.
C'è il telefono, dobbiamo rispondere al telefono.
Stanley was so bad at
Il
following
telefono dov'è
directions,
che era?
it's
Di là.
incredible he
Dovevo
wasn't
arrivare
5
dall'altra
years ago.
parte.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult.
Due volte.
The fact is that the story has been about
Prima da
nothing
qua
but
e
you
poi dalla
all the
grata più
time.
sotto.
There's
Già
someone
provato,
you've
già
been
provato.
neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha.
Ma come?
Come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Mi sa che qualcuno si è incazzato.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
No. E se non lo premo? E se premo tutto il resto? No. Oddio, c'è un muro invisibile. Sono...
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work,
Ci sta
he
trasformando in
stepped out from his
Stanley.
desk to realize that all of his co-workers,
Ci
his
sta
boss,
trasformando a noi in
everyone in the
Stanley.
building had
Ci sta
suddenly
facendo fare quello che
vanished
fa
off
Stanley.
the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to be
Ora sta parlando però di noi. Sta parlando appunto del gioco, sta parlando di come questo gioco sia bello perché c'ha un'infinità di scelte.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby.
Sì,
And
li
he
sta
called
citando
it
tutti quelli che abbiamo fatto.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. and
Eccone un altro. È ritornato tutto normale?
All of his co-workers were gone.
Forse.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
The end is never.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his
Su
co-workers.
tutti... No, non è tornato come prima. Non è tornato come prima. No, no. C'è qualcosa di diverso. C'è qualcosa di diverso.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
No, mi sa che è
I'm not
finito.
asking for me.
Se vado di lì mi rifà lo stesso finale della moglie, vero?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Allora restarto.
Stanley, you need to be the one to do this. To reach out to
Perché
her.
se mi rifà di nuovo la
If you
moglie
can
restarto
truly
e vediamo se
place
c'è
your faith
altro.
in another,
Vediamo se riusciamo.
then
Mi sa che è
pick up the
finito.
phone.
Non ho voglia di rifarmi tutto il l'ambaratattico per scoprire. Vabbè, io restarto, che non ho voglia di... Ma quindi, raga, allora, fermi.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
C'è anche la questione degli input, raga. C'è un computer a cui noi gli abbiamo mandato 2-3 input e non l'abbiamo più ritrovato, non ce ne sono altri. Prima eri riuscito a salire su una scrivania. Sì, tipo questa. Questa qua. Su altre si può? Non credo. No, tipo questa non me lo fa fare. Proviamo magari in quelle più indietro. Perché quella lì ha il... Mi fa salire su quella e basta. Qua niente. Qua mi fa andare qui. Qua niente. Qua niente. No, mi fa salire solo su quella. Non so se più avanti ci... Non mi ricordo se più avanti ci sono altre scrivanie. Oh, no. Io le ho provate tutte. Io non potendo saltare non... Aspetta, E sono queste le scrivanie, cazzo. E io le ho... mi sono spiattellato tu ovunque, ma... a parte quella scrivania non mi... secondo me è quella lì. Questa qua mi fa salire. Solo questa posso salire, su cui posso salire. Solo questa. Boh.
When Stanley came to a set of
Allora,
two
voglio
open
tornare
doors,
alla
he
main
entered the
room.
door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an
Di
answer
sotto
there.
siamo
Coming
già
to a
andati.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Sto dannato bagno. Eccolo, questo qua dobbiamo ancora fare.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Si sta rompendo i coglioni. Ancora più. L'abbiamo fatta 60 volte sto pezzo. Dai, su, andiamo avanti. Mi ha rotto il cazzo. Andiamo avanti. Su. Così ha fatto. Così.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley
Ok,
would meet
è la
his
stessa
final
cosa.
death.
È la
Of
stessa.
course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the
Posso
strength to find out?
provare qui cosa? A salire le... Ah. Ok. Ma non posso fare niente qua.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No.
Voglio vedere la main
He
room se hai
refused to
cambiato
believe it.
qualcosa.
He couldn't accept it. His own life
Lì ci
in
sta
someone
scappando
else's
palesemente
control?
qualcosa.
Never. It was unthinkable.
Poi dobbiamo ancora
Wasn't
trovare
it?
altri 2
Was it even
computer.
possible? Had he truly
Però mi sa che li
spent his
faremo.
entire life utterly
L'ultimo
blind to
computer
the
mi sa che lo si
world?
fa la prossima volta perché dobbiamo trovarlo ancora 2 volte.
But here was the proof. The heart of the
Poi questa
operation.
stanza,
Controls
raga.
labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in,
C'è una
Stanley
cosa
decided
effettivamente
that this
che non abbiamo
machinery would
fatto.
never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
C'è una cosa che non abbiamo fatto.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they
Sì.
kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Oh sì.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway.
sta
I'll tell you
cazzo devo
exactly what
fare?
happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around
Dov'era
will
il
be
3?
even better.
Quello era il 4, 1,
My
2,
goodness, only
5.
34
Dov'era il
seconds
3?
left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious
Molto gentile da parte tua.
Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh
3,
dear, what's the matter,
premuto,
Stanley?
e mo?
Is it that you have no idea where you're
Il
going or
4?
what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that
No,
something in this
è
room
di là il
is capable
4.
of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
No, è sempre sul 3.
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene.
Il 4, devo premere il 5. O forse devo premere il blu.
This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world.
5.
But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then...
No, ho sbagliato, vero?
You being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable...
Ma oltre al 5 non c'è niente.
Until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Non ho capito. Non ho capito. Io stavo facendo cose a caso.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what
Non
I
cambia
wanted.
nulla? Davvero? Cioè è inutile.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his
È inutile farlo, quindi non c'è nessun codice. Forse devi cliccare il blu e poi il 3. Ma non ci credo che non succede niente. Ma veramente? La 434 è la scrivania.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his
No, non
left.
ci credo che non c'è niente. Quello diceva Mantis. Ah, ok.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief,
No, non ci credo che non puoi
decided to
fare
go up
niente.
to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door, just go.
Sempre più scazzato proprio. Vai, vai, muovi il culo, dai. Provaci di nuovo a fare il codice. C'è una scrivania. Ok, la 434 è una scrivania
Stanley
importante.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind
Che
Control
palle, ma devo
Facility.
rifarmi di nuovo tutto il dialogo. Che due coglioni. Non puoi skippare.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Nonostante
What
tutti i
horrible
monitor
secret did
vedere
this
i
place
pulsanti di colore
hold?
diverso,
Stanley
spazi
thought to
nella
himself.
struttura,
Did he
nessuna
have the
pulsante
strength
di
to
avrà un
find out?
effetto. Sarai costretto a ridere dei tuoi tentativi di presione il controllo. Prova a salire sulla scrivania. Io ci risalgo. Questa qua ce l'ho salito, però. Io non posso più. Perché non posso più? Allora, aspettate.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ok. E quindi? Vai, il mondo... Oh no. In che senso il mondo è mio? No, ragazzi, cosa sto... Cosa mi stai facendo fare? Che cazzo ho fatto? No, ragazzi, non sto capendo. Aspetta.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Se era carina? Sì.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley.
No, mettimelo nel doppiaggio.
So manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some
Quella battuta. Ah, gli ho detto che ha rotto il cazzo. No! Non volevo.
in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. You too will become quite unbearable.
Quale poesia, signori? Va avanti all'infinito? Adesso ho rotto. No, lo so, ma io sono curioso di sapere se va avanti all'infinito o no. È in loop. Ok. Però mi sembra strano. Io aspetto ancora. Dici che basta, si ferma la musica, è buona? È questa la real fine? Capito? No, è questa la cosa bella. Che faccio? Che fa? Devo ristartare? Non devo ristartare? C'ho il segreto? Non c'è il segreto? Cioè, ogni volta che devo fare qualcosa dico, ma posso? Io restarto.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
Che ha detto? Faccio. Perché Stanley non vuole altro che premere pulsanti. Stanley è contento di premere pulsanti. Si spengono? Però si riaccendono alcuni. Dopo un po' si riaccendono. Li premerei all'infinito. Ah, che ne so, se premo tutti quelli rossi non succede niente di particolare? Tipo... No, si riattivano. Oddio, ci sta mettendo un botto a ricaricare. Ah, posso andarci tutte le volte che voglio adesso. Mi sa che abbiamo fatto tutto. O mi sbaglio? Manca qualcosa? Non mi viene in mente tanto che ci manca. Abbiamo fatto tutte le vie. Mantis, hai visto se lo stato... Mi sa che ci sono una roba come tipo 19 finali. Allora no, non li abbiamo fatti tutti. Credo ci siano altri finali segreti. E allora mi sa che... Prossima volta guida. Ma non so se sono nella Ultra Deluxe o qui. Secondo me sono nella Ultra Deluxe.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct? Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ma no, ma come? Nella stanza del boss, alla fine quindi. Che è successo? Le chiamate mi hanno fatto fare una chiamata di roba, hanno portato casse, non ho capito. Ma cassa... Madonna, ma ovunque! Scatole, scatole ovunque.
When Stanley came to a set of two open
Quindi dobbiamo
doors,
tornare
he
nella
entered the
stanza
door
finale. Dobbiamo rifinire il gioco seguendo il narratore, eh?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
O intendi questa del boss, ok, questa qua. Prima che la porta della stanza del boss si chiuda, devi uscire, eh? Cioè, devo...
Here's the door, just go.
Così? Come ho fatto adesso? Cosa devo fare, mo? Qua niente. Non si chiude la porta? No. Prova l'ascensore. Questo qua, ok. Salgo o scendo? Salgo. Stanley. E quindi niente, prendiamo l'ascensore e si sale. Mi domando per quanto dovrò salire. Ah! E allora mi sa che li abbiamo fatti tutti, raga. Fatemi come faccio a capire se li ho fatti tutti? Dagli achievement, immagino. Ma come c'è? No, no, raga. C'è un trofeo. Don't play the Stanley Parable per 5 years. Ma sto male. Finire Stanley in 4 minuti e 22. C'è un achievement che non si può sbloccare. 8. C'è un achievement che si chiama 8888888. Cliccare sulla 300, 430 volte. Allora, io quasi quasi, secondo me, la versione base l'abbiamo praticamente finita. È la deluxe che è piena di roba. Secondo me noi il gioco l'abbiamo finito. Ma qual è? Qual è la 430? Aspettate, cerchiamola. Ah, questa qua.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Ma perché non 430 come la porta? Venti sulla 417 o sulla 37? Sulla 417. Ah, no, scusa, non avevo capito che dovevo andarla. Ah, ok. Eccola.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437. Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
Vado, 415, corro. Dov'è la 415? Eccola qua.
Now, back to door number 437.
Vado. No, ma è bellissimo. Questo gioco è folle, bellissimo.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Dov'è la fotocopiatrice? Dov'è?
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
417, vado. Cosa stiamo per sbloccare?
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk. Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
Quando la gente è impazzito, si è preso bene con sta cosa strozzata.
We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again!
Vado, stai impazzendo sta.
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430! Yes! We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking?
Adesso sì, mi ha dato il trofeo. L'ho preso, me l'ha dato. Ce l'ho, raga. E questo dell'8? Sto provando a premere 8 un botto di volte. C'è un achievement che si chiama 888888888 e la descrizione è 888888888. Ah, ce n'è un altro, tra l'altro.
This is the story.
No, non mi ha dato... Devo quittare il gioco proprio. Sul tastierino del boss.
Gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door, just go.
Eight.
Me l'ha dato. Eccolo che è andato l'achievement. Ma con Quit the Game devo tipo fare zoom, lo riapro e mi dà l'achievement? Sì! Sì, me l'ha dato! Ah, this is an achievement. E adesso, raga, la speedrun. Non so se è possibile, ma velocemente.
This is the story of all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Eh no, non ci devo giocare per 5 anni per farlo, Cos. È diverso.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his bosses. Coming to a staircase, Stanley
Modificata se è no, no, io voglio il trofeo quando mi merito il trofeo. Io quando avrò 32 anni avrò il mio beneamato trofeo. Cos'è che era la password? 2 4 8 6? Merda, sono un genio. No.
What he could not have known
Qual è la password?
behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just
Dai, una speedrun, non parlare!
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy. So he relaxed.
Che stronzo, non mi vuole far fare la...
New age music.
E io restarto. Devi farlo quando... esatto.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Dai, dai, questa è buona, questa è buona. Dai, fammi andare.
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest.
No, lo so, dovrei restartare un'altra volta in teoria.
The nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Spicciati, ti
What horrible
prego.
secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have
Anche
the
perché
strength to find out?
ok. Poi c'è un achievement che c'è scritto letteralmente impossibile da ottenere. Poi ce n'è uno che si chiama achievement e quindi ti dice che questo è un achievement, ma non ti dice come sbloccarlo.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
This.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this... blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet,
Vabbè, ce l'abbiamo fatta, dai.
Slowly opened. Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand.
Questo discorso finale ti mangia i minuti, però, Così non vale, cazzo. Io sto tenendo premuto la doppia.
It will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
Ancora no, secondo me deve restartare. Me la...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ma queste sono cose a caso per farti fare... Sì, sono cose a caso per farti fare il... Ma che cazzo? Non sono finali segreti sbloccati. Allora, aspettate. Ci riprovo? No, vabbè, basta, sono stanco. La scimmia come abilità opzione. Resta quindi abilità opzioni obiettivi. Se sei nel gioco fai semplicemente clic ed esca per... Vabbè. Ma veramente? Mi ha dato l'achievement. Ma vabbè, ma che bordello! Che matti che sono questi qua. Che matti che sono. E poi dovremmo giocarci per tutto un martedì o un mercoledì, non lo so, non credo che lo farò. Va bene, raga. Credo che questo sia stato Stanley. Credo che abbiamo fatto tutti i finali della versione base. Abbiamo fatto tutto in un episodio solo. Cioè, è stato... Cioè, mi spiace che Stanley Parable originale sia durato poco. Ma è comunque stato incredibile per me, Mantis. È stato comunque incredibile. Infatti, adesso ho una gaina matta di giocare alla versione deluxe. Prima o poi la prendiamo.
Stanley stood for a long time in one spot. It's part.
Sta zitto. No, è... Wow, è stato davvero super divertente. Non me la... Cioè, sapevo che mi avrebbe divertito, raga, ma non sapevo che mi avrebbe divertito così tanto. È stato un trip. È stato un trip assurdo. È stato davvero, davvero, davvero figo. Io però adesso sono stanco morto. Wow, che viaggio, raga, che viaggio. Oh, primi due giochi sul canale dell'anno nuovo, Pepem proprio, gioconi, cazzo. Sono contento di averli giocati, che uno lo sto giocando e questo l'abbiamo giocato. Gioconi. Superliminal è un altro... C'era anche una versione diversa per PlayStation e Superliminal è un altro gioco dello stesso team di sviluppo. Superliminal. Ma sai che forse ho capito qual è Superliminal? È quello delle prospettive. Merda, sì, anche questo. Questo lo vorrei giocare prima o poi. Questo sì, aspetta che lo metto anche... Aspetta, me lo metto nella wishlist. Questo l'avevo visto e anche questo sembra matto come pochi. Anche questo sembra matto come pochi. Super Liniman. A posto. Hai usato saggiamente i tuoi 50.000 punti. Lo mettiamo lì. Vediamo se c'è anche su Instant Gaming. Perché Stanley, The Parable Stanley Deluxe non c'è su Instant. Avevo guardato. Merda, raga, c'è, te lo regalano letteralmente. 6 euro. 6 euro. Minchia, in sti giorni ci si può anche pensare allora. Visto che non abbiamo più, cioè non abbiamo solo Mystery Dungeon, ci si può pensare. Ci si può pensare. 6 euro, raga, 5,67. Ci si può pensare. Magari ci si fa l'intermezzo e poi più avanti si prende la versione deluxe di Stanley, dei Parable Stanley. Ci può stare. Ma sì, una cosa per volta in attesa di... Sì, quello metà di sto anno almeno. Ragazzi. Ma Silksong, se esce alla fine di quest'anno. Se esce alla fine di quest'anno. A dicembre 2024. Ti è piaciuto? Stanley, intendi, Mantis? Stanley sì, mi è piaciuto un sacco. Mi è piaciuto davvero un sacco. È stato un bel... molto particolare, molto carina questa tecnica di narrazione dove si cerca di un po' sfondare la quarta parete e lanciare delle frecciatine al giocatore. È una narrazione che mi ha sempre intrippato molto. È una narrazione che mi ha sempre intrippato molto. La Ultra Deluxe è molto più folle. Ma immagino, se hanno fatto con questo, io non oso immaginare con la Ultra Deluxe che cosa hanno fatto. Un giorno la giochiamo, un giorno la giochiamo, la dobbiamo giocare per forza. Io sono curioso adesso. Sono troppo curioso, ma anche di Super Liminal, proprio più della Ultra Deluxe. Un trip, raga, un trip. Si è passati dal provare emozioni di divertimento e cazzeggio a pura follia e incomprensione, ma di quella che ti mette quasi a disagio, di quella che proprio non riesci a capire cosa sta succedendo. Momenti presi male, tipo il narratore che dice, fa cose che ti fanno dire, ma che cazzo. Cioè, è stato molto bello. Molto molto figo, raga. C'è un gioco giapponese che distrugge la quarta parete, però non mi ricordo il suo nome. Se lo trovi, magari potrò andarlo a vedere. Andrò a vedere com'è. Peccato che mi è tagliato in due il video adesso perché OBS ha crashato, dovrò rimettermi lì e riassemblare tutto, che due coglioni. Grazie, grazie mille OBS per rendere le mie giornate molto più facili e divertenti. Mannaggia a lui. Vabbè. Raga, ho gli occhi che mi pulsano, mi fanno perfino male. Sono cotto, mi sono divertito troppo. Grandi, grandi, bel gioco. Grande Mantis per averlo proposto. Grande Mantis. È il secondo gioco che proponi che ci sta. Tanta roba. Siamo contenti che ti sia piaciuto. Sono contento anch'io e soprattutto spero che vi sia piaciuto a voi e che vi siate divertiti. Io ora subito vado subito a recuperarmi la live del Bravo, bravo. E mi raccomando, recuperati anche oggi Pokémon perché è stato veramente un... Vabbè. Raga, Mantis, Cos, Nimris, grazie a tutti quanti della meravigliosa compagnia di questa sera. Peccato davvero che sia durato così poco. Quanto avrei voluto farci almeno un altro episodio, ma lo faremo con la Deluxe. Lo faremo con la Deluxe. È stato bello scoprire cosa c'è di diverso rispetto alla Ultra Deluxe. E roba in meno. Io vi do una buona notte. Grazie ancora. Ci vediamo domani col nostro Mystery Dungeon. Mm? Andiamo avanti. Domani abbiamo un bel po' di quest da fare. Buonanotte, raga.